I was having a pretty good day, you know. I woke up thinking to myself, hey, it's Sedin night. We're going to see the jersey retirement for Henrik and Daniel Sedin later today, which will be absolutely awesome. I was jamming out to my K-drama soundtrack. Happy. Really happy about today. And then I opened up Twitter, checked up on the Montreal Canadiens subreddit, checked up on Nick Kyprios's page, and I saw this. Sources say Shea Weber's injury has his season likely over and his future in question. Told injury is related to the foot that was surgically repaired in 2018. While waiting for swelling to alleviate and further confirmation, surgery seemed unavoidable going into this week. So, that was a bomb. A complete unexpected piece of news that I don't even really know how to process. Shea Weber is out for the year, and Shea Weber's future is in question. Now, what exactly does that mean for the rest of the Montreal Canadiens season, and what does that mean for the Canadiens next year and beyond? Shea Weber, the captain, is potentially lights out in his hockey career. Now, I don't want to treat things so colloquially and just kind of brush it off, but Shea Weber is a guy who is playing so well this year. 34 points, 13 goals in 55 games played. I was seriously saying that he could push for 15 goals. He's 2 away. And now he's out for the year. Now he's in a position where his future is debatable. And I think this is the most unexpected and most deafening news that we could have received about Captain Shea of the Montreal Canadiens. Now, let's take a look at some of the options at how things are going to go. Because if Shea Weber is out for the year, which is confirmed, he's already out for this entire year up until the summer, does that change your perspective on whether or not the Habs should remain competitive? Does that change the decisions that you make with guys like Tatar, with guys like Petrie, with guys like Kovalchuk? If Shea Weber is out, then things are going to be different. This team is worse without Shea Weber. And if Shea Weber is out long term, dare I say for the remainder of his career, if he never plays an NHL game again, does that change the way you evaluate your team? The Canadiens said that they've wanted to remain competitive next year. They felt that this season was riddled with injuries, which is why they don't necessarily want to just go all out sell mode. Sell, sell, sell. They don't want to just do that right away because they want to be competitive next year. But can you realistically say that that's an option without Shea Weber? Can you? That's not me asking a hypothetical here. This is me asking a legitimate question. I want you to answer in the comment section below what you think, because Shea Weber is literally the captain of this team. Without Weber, the best defenseman on this team is Petrie, and it's Petrie by far. The defensive depth suffers incredibly without Shea Weber, and that is something that you didn't need me to tell you. Is this the opportunity for the Canadiens to sit down and go full rebuild? Because one of the most important parts of their team, when they want to remain competitive, has just been sidelined, arguably for the rest of the foreseeable future. So, what are your thoughts? Because I can see both points of views. I can see the point of view where you look at it and say, yeah, okay, Weber is out, which significantly reduces our chances of being competitive. Let's just go all out sell, get some younger guys, get some picks, and in 5 years, we can finally be good again. I can totally see that process because there isn't necessarily the same amount of desire to do well in my opinion at least, if you don't have one of your best players in Shea Weber. Now, I can totally see the flip side to that as well. Hey, the Canadiens this year have been riddled by injuries, yet they're still barely out of a playoff spot. Just because they lose out on one Shea Weber doesn't mean they're completely done. They showcased that this year. When Drouin was out, sure, the team suffered, but they're still barely out of the playoffs, and now Drouin is back. Gallagher was out too. All these guys that are really important to the team have been injured at times, but the team has still remained competitive. Is it the same for Shea Weber? Can you viably say that this team can contend for a playoff spot, which is what they wanted to do next year, without Shea Weber? Now, obviously, that is just me talking in the hypotheticals. What if Shea Weber does indeed never play a game again? But Nick Kyprios' tweet is so vague that I cannot help but entertain that idea. Now, do I think he's done and he never comes back? I don't know. I would love for Shea Weber to come back next year because that's when the Canadiens should be competitive, right? That's when it's a fresh new slate. Everybody is coming back from injury, and the team with Nick Suzuki and maybe Kovalchuk, I'm not too sure, is supposed to be able to do some damage. But Weber getting out, that's a big wrench in the system of gears that makes this idea work. Now, I will say that if Weber does indeed retire, quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes around the word retire, and he doesn't go on LTIR or whatever, he just straight up says, yeah, I'm done, Nashville's cap is going to get extraordinarily destroyed. They're going to get so many penalties. It's the same thing that happened with Roberto Luongo when he retired and the Vancouver Canucks salary cap, because the Canucks are still paying Luongo today. Shea Weber is going to do that to Nashville if he does retire. Now, I don't want to put that possibility out there on the table because there is still a very likely possibility that he just goes, no, put me on LTIR. So that doesn't happen to Nashville. But at the same time, I don't want to let my mind wander off into the realm where Weber is in a position where he needs to either make a decision on whether or not to retire or to go on LTIR. But it's crazy from the Canadiens' point of view. This was supposed to be the time to start to contend. But the best D-man on the team, the captain, the heart and soul of the blue line, has just been sidelined for the rest of the year. Now, I can totally see why some people would want to just completely blow up the team, trade away all the important assets now, and just get some young guys and all that back. It's definitely a viable position to take in this situation, and I don't blame anybody for wanting to do that, and I don't blame anybody for not wanting to do that either. This team shouldn't need to suffer through this because it's just so unfortunate how this season has gone so far with all the injuries, all the losing, and just barely being out of the playoffs, only to have that last sliver of hope towards getting back into the playoffs taken away by a Shea Weber season-ending injury. That sucks. That really does suck, doesn't it? So, what do you think? Is it time to tank? Is it time to start icing a roster that can lose these games? Are we still going for Alexis Lafreniere? Because that was the funny switcheroo that happened earlier in the year. It was absolutely incredibly funny looking at Twitter and Reddit and all that stuff. When the Canadiens started out this season, they were winning. Everybody wanted to make the playoffs. Then the Canadiens lost 8 straight. Hey, tank for Lafreniere, let's go. That was the big meme that was on social media. Then they started winning again. And then it was like, hey, playoffs. Let's do it. And now with Weber out, it sounds like we might be on the tank for Lafreniere train again. Oh, man. Good things doesn't seem to happen to Montreal nowadays, eh? Nick Suzuki is pretty much like the only limelight that we've had on this team for the entire season. Kovalchuk has been great, but he hasn't been here the whole year, so that's why I'm not saying that. But Shea Weber being out, it's a tough blow. Really is. Comment down below what you think, because this is extraordinarily important for the future of the team. Hope you enjoyed this video. Social Life Trolls 99. And bye.